Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about After Earth with Jaden Smith and Will Smith, our two main characters. This isn't really going to be a review. This isn't a very good movie. I would like to talk about some of the elements in the film that make it a very bad movie. But even if the elements were all perfect, this would still be a very bad movie because Jaden Smith cannot act in this. I really enjoyed him in Karate Kid. And Will Smith seems to be channeling Keanu Reeves in his acting range here. Just horrible acting, flat out. Terrible acting in this movie. Badly written, badly acted. Special effects were pretty. It's a very attractive film, don't get me wrong. I like the technology and stuff they had. But there are things in this that made no sense, and I'm going to talk about them. First up, we have the premise. Earth is used up, so we have to leave to go somewhere else. This has to be far enough in the future where we actually have the technology to do this. So we have that technology to get to other star systems. They possess a jump drive in here. So they use some kind of sublight drive, which is fast, but sublight, for short distance transportation. And then they use a jump drive that goes from, or they call it traveling from point to point, which doesn't actually seem to be all that accurate. So we have to leave the planet. So it's far enough in the future where we can do this. Okay, we have the technology to build the ships to get us off the planet. The idea is that Earth is completely abandoned. That is utter bull. There is no conceivable way you could get all of humanity off this planet. It would take you 1,000 years to get everyone off this planet. There were people who would flatly refuse. They would rather die here in battle with whoever was trying to move them than leave this planet. And you would have a remnant population. You'd miss somebody. So the Earth would not be abandoned by humanity. Period. Any storyline that tells me all of humanity is removed from the planet is from the get-go crap. You can't do it. So let's shelve that. So that's the first point. So Earth's empty. We'll go with it. All right, even though it's dumb, we'll go with it. This takes place 1,000 years in the future. In that intervening 1,000 years, a number of new species have evolved based off of the current life forms still here. Evolution doesn't work that fast. 1,000 years is not time for anything to evolve. It is barely time for anything to even have a modicum of adaptation to the fact that humanity is gone. There just isn't. You have to remember, son, that everything on this planet has evolved to kill man. No, it hasn't. In fact, in 1,000 years, everything on the planet has forgotten man existed if man's gone. There are, in fact, all the adaptations that they may have acquired, say all the large animals in Africa that evolved alongside of humanity, they're going to lose those because humanity's gone. That's how evolution works. You don't have a trait that's being used anymore. It either gets reused in another way or it gets dropped. It becomes atrophied and useless. So no, in that intervening 1,000 years, the animals have not gotten better at hunting humans. They've gotten worse at hunting humans. They have no experience with humans. None. Also, I couldn't figure out where this was. From the climate, it looked like the Pacific Northwest, but there are structures in there that had no bearing on our world. So I have no idea where this was. If anybody knows where this is physically supposed to have been on Earth, I would love to know. Next up, so we go to a new home. I can't remember what they called it. Nova something, I think. And aliens show up because aliens wanted to wipe out humanity. Again, I've spoken many times about the absurdity of interstellar war. It would not happen. And anyone who thinks, well, some alien races might just want to destroy things because that's what they are like, that's just projection. You are projecting our negative ability to get along peacefully with each other. But you just don't grasp how big our galaxy is. 200 billion stars! There's space for everyone and everything. Interstellar war is dumb. But we'll ignore it. We'll go with it. So, the aliens show up, and they've used hunter-killer creatures, biotechnology, to create an enemy to hunt humans. Big, strong, fast, melee characters. Okay? Actually, I think they may have some kind of projectile, but it was very, very short range. And they're blind. Why you would prevent yourself from having a biotechnology that takes advantage of the most useful form of sense in the universe, I'm not sure, but they're blind. And they detect humans through pheromones. Fear. Well, not just fear. There are many pheromones. I'm sure they could also attract humans through lust. I'm just not sure that humans are going to be feeling a lot of sexual desire around these giant creatures about to kill them. Though, some people like rough sex. So, you have these creatures that are wiping out humanity on this planet because they can hunt us by fear. And along comes our main character, Will Smith, who, because he's learned to completely control his fear, he's invisible to the aliens and he can kill them in hand-to-hand combat. Why? If you have an enemy that can't see you and hunts by pheromones, why aren't you using drones, artillery, sniper rifles, explosives, poisons? There are many, many ways to kill an enemy from a range further than they can ever smell. You could use pheromones to fake them out by making artificial human fear pheromones. You could flood a city with them. Humans would never smell them. But the aliens would be awash in like this incredible sensory overload. Dumb. Alright? We're going to go with it. So, this guy's a badass. No emotions. Can't be a good father. Crappy parenting. Oh, horrible parenting in this movie. By the end of the film, they almost become a functioning family. Almost. Okay? So, they decide to take a trip together to bond. Ship malfunctions. You know how it malfunctions? Because the main character, played by Will Smith, can feel a graviton storm through the ship while he's asleep. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but a graviton is a theoretical particle that transmits gravity. So it's the messenger particle that would allow gravity to function. So I get two objects, and there's a message that gravity is affecting them. Graviton would be the messenger carrier particle between these two objects, or any two objects. It's a theoretical particle. We haven't found it. I don't know what's going to take for us to find it. But it answers a lot of questions. Which means every single time gravity affects anything, there would be a carrier particle known as a graviton involved. Alright? That's like saying I'm sitting in this room right now and I have the psychic ability to detect a photon. Because that's what this guy essentially is doing. He's detecting a particular type of graviton outside his ship in an asteroid field that's about to go rogue and create a graviton wave and harm the vessel. Also, asteroid belts are really empty. If you're standing on an asteroid, you'll be lucky if you can see another asteroid. That's how far apart they are. They do not look like the rings around Saturn and Uranus and Neptune. That's not what they look like. Asteroid belts are big and empty. Space is big and empty. People need to understand that. Big and empty. You can't see my hands. You can't see asteroids either. So we're going to go with it. He can cyclically feel a storm. They use their traveling ability, their jump drive. They escape the storm. Their ship is critically damaged, crippled. They crash land on a planet, Earth, of course. And the only two people miraculously able to survive this are Will Smith and Jaden Smith, our main characters. In addition, on board the vessel had been one of the aliens for research on another planet. Get the metaphor? You're taking your own fears on board with you where you go? And then he gives this bullcrap message to his kid who has to go find some beacon because his legs are busted. That fear is all in the mind. Fear is a choice. No, folks. Fear is not a choice. Fear is wired into us. It is our friend. Read the book, The Gift of Fear. Very good book. Fear is not a choice. What you do with the fear is your choice. Fear is wired into us. And what he's describing is actually anxiety. And yes, we can have control over anxiety, but we can't have control over fear. It's just this bullshit pop psychology. This thing is rife with it. So the kid now has to go out and get this beacon. 100 kilometers, he's got to travel X number of days because they have to take this breathing supplement because the Earth's atmosphere is so horrible. Why is the Earth's atmosphere so horrible? We could not deplete the oxygen content of the Earth, not to mention it's had 1,000 years to recover. That makes no sense to me either. They're not in the Himalayas. They're not at the top of the mountain range in South America. Though they do encounter a baboon troop, which is dangerous, and they actually portray that well. They encounter a giant raptor, which builds a nest that no animal's ever built. That's bigger than any raptor that's ever been. Twice the size of the biggest condor in the world. There's just hideously absurd animals in this. They look good, but they're just wrong. Climbing cats that like lion-sized cats that climb trees, climb the outside of these nests and stuff. It was silly. The biggest danger is getting from point A to point B in the wilderness, and you're not going to travel 100 kilometers in 3 or 4 days. In uncharted territories, which is essentially what he's traveling through, you'll be lucky if you make 20 to 25 kilometers. 20 maybe. If you're lucky, you make 20 kilometers. More likely 15. It's horrible when you're going through uncharted territory. You don't know where you're going. And you slip and fall in a heartbeat. If you're traveling alone, that's dangerous. He's got no choice, I get that. But it's really easy to get hurt. So of course he finds the crash site. He finds the beacon. The alien is there. They have a big battle because he overcomes his fear. He wins. It's just horrible from beginning to end. It was a pretty disaster. It was an attractive atrocity. I don't know I haven't looked up to see who wrote this. I want to see what other films have written. I want to see what other the director of other films the guy's done, because this is just epic, powerful, and stunning. Well, stunning maybe. I'll give you that. Epic and powerful, no. Because my wife and I are looking at each other while this is going. It's like, I don't give a crap about any of these people. I have no emotional engagement at all with these. None. It was horrible. I just didn't care. It was implausibility after implausibility, with the complete lack of understanding of biology, physics, psychology, sociology, history. If they had a point behind this, I missed it. I paid $4 for this. I got ripped off. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you can get this for less than $4 and you're interested, okay. Oh yeah, by the way, there were no human artifacts. 1,000 years in the future, on our planet, there was no sign of human life. Do you know how many things would still be here in 1,000 years? Entire cities, highways. Yeah, it didn't make any sense. So if anybody who saw this and liked it, tell me how and why. Because I'd like to know. I need to go look up online to see what other people said about this thing. Because I got to tell you, man, I thought it was an absolute waste of my time. It was pretty. I enjoyed the technology they were playing with. But the rest of it was preposterous. And I just couldn't enjoy it. I wanted to. And the week before I'd seen Edge of Tomorrow and it was awesome. But this, a complete and utter disappointment.